folks, welcome back to The Breakdown. I'm your host, Sandra Babu-Boateng.
I am an African woman just because how do we identify who we are? You look at your skin, right? So I didn't need that to tell me that I'm African. Anywhere that I go in the world and someone looks at me, I'm melanated. But my ancestors who wanted to return and come back home, those ancestors who never made it back, their dying wish was to come back to their home and they never made it. That passport for me is for them.
Today, we're diving into a movement that's been gaining steam for some years, but recently hit a new level of urgency. The growing number of African Americans moving to Africa. Not just visiting, not just reconnecting, but actually packing their bags and leaving the U.S. for good to start a new life on the motherland. And it's not just African Americans. Many first and second generation immigrants are also moving back home. So what exactly is driving this trend? Why Africa? Why now? And if you're considering relocating, is it the right move for you? That's what we're breaking down today, the why, the where, and the real pros and cons of moving to Africa. I've got stats and interviews with real people who have done it to help you make the right decision. And we will also be looking at African countries who are rolling out the red carpet with citizenship and incentives to welcome you home. It's going to be a good one, but before we dive in, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you don't miss another critical conversation like the one we're about to have. So that's Quad from Married to Medicine, who recently became a citizen of Ghana. And I love what she said about misconceptions, because honestly, where did this idea even come from that Africans don't like African Americans? That's a myth, one that I'm glad is finally being debunked. And there are so many other misconceptions out there, but honestly, it starts with what she said, right? Which is visiting the motherland yourself. Not only has Quad become a citizen of Ghana, but she is actively investing, starting businesses, and she's not the only one. But first up, why are people doing this? What's making African Americans, after generations in the U.S., look across the Atlantic and say, yeah, I think I'm out? Well, reason number one, racial fatigue. The U.S. ain't getting any easier. Let's be honest, being Black in America is exhausting. Every day, there's another police brutality case, another law designed to suppress Black voters, another corporate diversity program being rolled out. Even after centuries of contributions to the country, Black folks are still fighting for basic dignity. And some people are saying, why fight when I can just leave, right? Not in a runaway, let me run away kind of way, but in a let me actually take my skills, my money, and my peace of mind somewhere that respects me kind of way.
For me, as a Black mother, I love America. I have always loved America, but at some point, America stopped loving me and stopped loving my children, and I could feel it in the policies and activities that were happening. So I moved myself away from whatever perceived conveniences there are in America to, protect us from the very obvious ill. So it's a question of what's your priority. My children's life is paramount to me. And I would want them to be in an environment where they feel at home, they feel welcome, they feel protected by the laws and by, the society. So for me, if those things are important to you and you're a Black person still living in the diaspora, don't be afraid to come in and figure out what you can do here, because the opportunities are limitless. There's so little that we have here that there's an opportunity for you to come and create it if you are that way motivated. So.
Another reason people are moving, the economy. Your dollar goes further in Africa. The average one-bedroom apartment in Accra, Ghana, for example, about maybe $400 a month. In Lagos, between $300 to $600 a month. Although I do have to point out that real estate is getting more expensive by the day, especially depending on the level of luxury that you want, right? But still, it comes nowhere near what you would pay in New York, $3,000 a month for a shoebox. And it's not just housing, food, labor, business costs. Your dollar stretches further in many African countries than in the US. So instead of working 60-hour weeks just to survive, people are moving somewhere they can actually live. And then reason number 3 is cultural reconnection, a home that feels like home. Imagine just waking up and never having to code switch. No one asking to touch your hair, no one calling the police because you exist. You can actually go on a jog and feel safe. For many African Americans, moving to Africa isn't just about economics. It's about being in a place where they feel they belong. Being in a space where your Blackness is the norm and not the exception. And African governments are catching on. Some countries aren't just saying, welcome, come visit. They're saying, here's a passport, here's some land. We want you to stay forever. So let's talk about some of those places, shall we? So which African countries are offering citizenship? Number 1, Ghana. Ghana is leading the pack here. In 2019, they launched the Year of Return, inviting the African diaspora to reconnect with their roots. Over 1.5 million people visited that year alone. And since then, Ghana has offered citizenship to thousands of African Americans and continues to welcome more home through its pioneering Right of Abode initiative, a law that gives people of African descent the right to live in Ghana permanently. Number 2, Sierra Leone. That's right. Sierra Leone took things to the next level. They're saying if your ancestry test traces you back to Sierra Leone, congratulations, you qualify for citizenship. No years-long visa process, no headaches, just proof of ancestry, and you're in. Number 3, Benin. Yes, so Benin has also done the same as Sierra Leone. They recently passed a law that grants automatic citizenship to descendants of enslaved Africans. So if you can prove ancestral ties through DNA or records, yes, you can become a Beninese citizen. Number 4, South Africa. So South Africa is considering offering citizenship to Black Americans as part of a broader initiative to strengthen African American ties to the continent. Now, if this goes through, it could be a game changer, but so far, it hasn't happened yet. But here's the thing. Just because a country offers you citizenship doesn't mean you should automatically move there, right? I mean, citizenship is great, but it's just one piece of the entire puzzle. Before you pack your bags, there are 5 other critical factors that you need to consider when choosing where to move. And let's be real, some of these countries check more boxes than others.
If you are inclined to look for a job, don't come. But if you are entrepreneurial minded, you have skill set that you can share, technology that you can transfer, if you have a way to utilize the abundant raw materials that we have here, we have an abundance of so many things that you can't easily find outside. And if you're able to create a business that utilizes what we have here and exports it for, foreign exchange, that sort of thing, you could position yourself for a very positive life.
Number 1, employment. That's very, very important. Can you find a job in this place? Now, many countries don't have a strong job market, right? So employment opportunities will be very limited unless you have high in-demand skills. South Africa, for example, has an unemployment rate of 32%, meaning jobs are already very competitive. Remember, these economies are still developing, so the formal job market is limited. So make sure you have in-demand skills, but the best case scenario is to find yourself a high-paying remote job in the US that allows you to live and work anywhere in the world. With that, you can live like a king in Africa. But the bottom line here, if you're planning to work for someone else, research the job market first. If you're an entrepreneur, you definitely have more flexibility, which brings us to our next factor. Number 2, business environment. Can you start and run a business? So many African Americans moving to the continent are entrepreneurs, starting businesses in tourism, real estate, hospitality, and even tech. But not every country makes this easy. Ghana, for example, is great for establishing businesses, but it can be a little expensive, right? Depending on the type of business you want to start. Restaurants and shops are easier to set up, but any import related business may be very expensive because of high import taxes. Also, setting up a business takes patience. That said, if you can navigate the system, Ghana has a growing economy and tons of opportunities. Bottom line here, if you're planning to start a business, do your research and figure out what opportunities are available in the countries that you're considering and talk to the right people as well. The third thing to consider is investment opportunities. Can you build wealth in this location? It's not just about making money, it's about growing it. Whether it's real estate, manufacturing, or industry, African countries offer some really great investment opportunities. And if you're thinking long term, manufacturing and real estate are two of the best investment opportunities in Africa right now. For example, setting up a local factory to refine raw materials such as, gold or cocoa or, rice and other things can be a really profitable move, especially with Africa's push for industrialization. In Ghana, real estate is booming. People are snapping up land, especially in Accra and Cape Coast. But be careful because land disputes are very common. So you need a reliable local contact to ensure your investment is secure. If you're coming to Africa with investment in mind, lots of opportunities available for you. But do your research and find out exactly where is the safest to put your investment. Number 4, political stability. Will you be safe? Now, this is very important because nobody wants to move halfway across the world only to end up in a country with political instability or economic crisis. So once again, do your research and find out about the political stability of the place you're considering before you actually make the move. And number 5, the friendliness of the people. Will you be accepted? Let's be real. Just because you're Black doesn't mean you won't be seen as a foreigner. Right? And some places are more welcoming or can be more welcoming than others, although generally Africans are just very, very welcoming. But it's important. That's why it's very important for you to visit first, not just one country, but multiple countries, so you can get a real sense of what it's like to be there before making the move. Now, beyond everything we've discussed, success in Africa comes down to patience, adaptability, and the right mindset. Let's be clear. You cannot move to Africa and expect to succeed with a Western mindset. It just won't work. The way things function there socially, economically, and bureaucratically is different. And if you come in thinking, oh, you're going to change the system overnight, you're in for a rude awakening. Instead, the key is adopting a local mindset. Approach this move with curiosity, not arrogance. Be genuinely interested in understanding how things work. Talk to locals, learn the unspoken rules, and adapt to the realities on the ground. That's how you integrate, and that's how you not only survive, but you thrive. Here's the truth. If you don't adapt, you get frustrated, pack your bags, and go right back to where you started. And yes, a lot of people have also done that. So what do you need to be ready for, right? Number 1 is bureaucracy. Be prepared for red tape when it comes to visas, work permits, business registration, and property rights. I mean, these things take time and patience. Secondly, infrastructure challenges. Power outages, slow internet, water shortages, these are common in many African countries. So if you expect everything to run like clockwork, you'll be disappointed. And number 3, cultural differences. As I said, even though you're Black, you're still a foreigner, and some locals may welcome you with open arms. Others may be a bit more skeptical. But the best way to earn their respect, engage with the culture, contribute positively, and show that you're here to build, not just take. If you can embrace these challenges instead of fighting against them, you won't just survive in Africa, you will do very well. And that's exactly what many African Americans who have made the move are doing today.
Am I happy with my decision to move back? Absolutely, without question. And I don't hesitate. When I complain about the daily things that we all complain about here in Ghana, the challenges affect me directly. I don't have any secret nest of, comfort I'm in here hustling like everyone else, and I'm still very happy to be here.
So, what's the takeaway? Well, moving to Africa isn't something you do on impulse. You need a plan. And here's what you need to do before making the leap. Number one, save, save, save. If you're serious, you're going to need capital enough to buy property, start a business, or invest. And most African countries don't have mortgage options like here in the US. So you may need to pay cash upfront for land or property. And number two, as I've stated, do your research, understand the laws, visas, business regulations of the country you're interested in. Learn about costs, safety, and quality of life before making a decision. And number three, visit before you move. Oh, this is so, so important. Spend at least a few weeks in the country you're considering. See if you actually like it before making a long-term commitment. And then finally, build a network in advance if possible. Connect with other African Americans who have already moved, and they will give you the real tea on what to expect. Oh, and lest I forget, you should also have an exit strategy, right? Just in case things don't work out, what's your plan? Keep your options open. Now, Panagenius TV, we have a series called The Returnee Project, where we share real stories from African Americans who have already made the move. Yes, so check out some of those interviews in the description below. Now, I want to hear from you. Would you move to Africa? And if you already made the move, what's your experience been like? Share your thoughts so we can all learn from each other. That's it for today's breakdown. Thanks for joining me. Again, remember, if you enjoy this episode, please subscribe, share, and like this episode so we can keep these conversations going. Until next time, take care, everyone.